Hello everybody, March 7th, 2022. I want to remind everybody that we do offer a free 2-week trial of our premium service. I've added this little QR code here to the starting screen that you can scan, and you can go to tradelikeawhale.com as well. That's where that QR code takes you, and you can sign up for a 2-week trial, like I said, to that premium service where I analyze all sorts of things: altcoins, gold, silver, equities, etc. All right, so let's start in on Bitcoin. First off, I want to go over what I said on Friday. I always like to do that. So I was a little bit unclear in the short term what Bitcoin was going to do, whether or not we'd already bottomed, right? So scenario one was that it already bottomed there, or that it might bottom soon around 38K. That obviously was wrong, which is fine. I wasn't basing any short-term trades on either of these being primary. Like I said, I didn't know where we were, right? However, scenario number two, I said second scenario was that we hadn't bottomed yet, meaning we would get a little bounce to 39.7 to 40.7, which, if we just scooch this over, that was this red box right here. So I was saying this right around this area here, and then this bounce up to 39.7 is exactly where it went to. And then we would move down to about 36.6 to 37.4, which is this green box right here. And once again, you can see that's exactly where we went to. So from there, I was expecting a larger second wave bounce up to 39 to 41. So that's what we're going to look at now. Are we in the middle of getting that, or are we going to push down further? So once again, primary expectation, this remains my primary for weeks, has been to see a new low that takes out the 33K low. Okay, so keep that in mind, right? That's the bigger picture here, and that's what I'm basing my trades on. Okay, so here we go, getting into the micro. Down here we have likely done, we were in between the red, which was that, might have ended around 38K, or blue, which was that we were going to get another push down. And so I'm going to remove the red count now. That was that alternate, or that, scenario number one that I had on there. So that's gone. I like the blue count better anyway, so I'm good with that. So there's 3, 4, and 5. So the question is 5 done, or is there going to be another little push down? I cannot give you a great answer right now on that. It's possible this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in sort of a diagonal, ending diagonal here for this last wave. So it is very possible that we get a little push down further into this box before we see this push up. I would be, once again, a little bit careful in trying to grab longs anywhere in here. There is also the possibility, I need to make this clear, there is a possibility that somewhere in here is our wave 2, and that's all we're going to get, and we just start plummeting down. That is a possibility. So I am not looking for longs at this point in time. I'm already short. I was shorting this range up here. I've also got shorts remaining from all the way back here, which is where I shorted originally, right? Shorted all the way back there. So I've got shorts on top of shorts, and I will be adding even more shorts if we get into the zone. If we do not, I am already plenty short enough, and we'll be happy to just see this dump out. Now, all of that being said, the most likely scenario is that we do see a move up. Whether or not we get a lower low here first before that bounce, we're likely to get a semi-larger bounce here to complete this second wave up before we head down further. Okay, now let me zoom out here to explain a couple more things, right? So I'm looking for a completion of this fifth wave, which I should probably make larger to make it more clear. There we go. I'm looking for a completion of this blue 5, right? And within that blue 5, we should see 5. We've already seen 1 and 2. We're in the midst of 3. then we should see 4 and a final move down for 5, which at the moment is targeting 25.5 to 27.3. Okay, so when I'm talking micro, I'm talking about this move from 2 to 3. I'm trying to determine where within that move we are. And this is likely to be the strongest wave down. So this is going to be, and that's why I say we have the possibility that we've already gotten whatever bounce we're going to get, and we're going to dump, because third waves can get very, very aggressive. Okay, but assuming we don't get that dump, like I said, we'll get this little bounce up. So what I've got drawn here, the yellow fib extension, is from this high here down here to the first wave, which clearly had 5 waves within it, which is beautiful. So there's our first wave. Then we draw the fib extension up in that ABC of 2. Okay, so that's right there. And yes, 2 did go a little higher than expected. So, you know, I always have to keep that in the back of my mind. Like, if this starts going up from here, which is a possibility, a small possibility in my opinion, but it is a possibility, you know, that I need to keep that in mind, basically, that that is not an ideal setup. But we do also now have a very clear 5-wave micro down, which makes it more likely that we are going to see this continuation downwards. Okay, so there's always like some uncertainty when you're doing trades, you know what I mean? When you're analyzing charts, nothing is a guarantee, and I always talk about probabilities, right? So the probability is that we will see this lower low. So what we see, the reason I pointed that all out, is that, let me delete all of my drawings here. The reason I pointed this out is that when you draw a fib extension from 1 to 2, number one, that gives you targets for the end of the wave, which is typically the 1764 to the 2.0. It also gives you targets along the way. Typically, we're going to see a first wave ideally go to about the 618, which is right here. Okay? And you can see we reached a little bit below that, but generally we're in that 618 area. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Then from a bounce from the 618, we should see a little ABC up to about the 382, which is 40.7. So once again, we've got some more confirmation that we are probably going to move up here, because we're going 618 to 382. Once that's complete, the next move is typically aggressive, down to the 1236, and that's 31.8. Okay, so that's why I'm saying, you know, if 2 has truncated, we're not going to get up here potentially, we can just dump all the way down there. So longs are not a good risk reward proposition right now, because that potential is there. However, if we can get a pretty clear A and B wave in place, something like this, we might have an opportunity to scalp long up, and we can put a stop below that area right there. So that might be an opportunity that presents itself. It might not. If I miss that, you know, so be it. I don't really care. That's fine. I am going to be interested, like I said, though, in adding shorts here. And at the moment, especially right around 40.5 up to 41, somewhere in that range, right around the 382, is a great area to target for that. And if you remember from a while back, 40.9 was actually my line in the sand between the bears and the bulls, so breaking 49 set off the rest of this move. Would not be surprising at all to move back there to test that. So there's another thing to keep an eye on, right? Another reason to anticipate we move into that area. All right, so there is the micro analysis and what I expect will happen. Like I said, if I don't get that, you know, that's fine. I'm already short enough. If I do get it, I'll add more shorts, and that's fine too. So like I said, at some point we may see an ABC up. So if we see something that looks like this, you know, we push a little higher and then come back down about halfway, half of that move, that looks like a nice ABC. Like I said, we could potentially grab a scalp long there and try to long it from, you know, I don't know, 38-ish, low 38s up to 41 or so, with your stop down here. That's a pretty decent, it's probably a 2-to-1 risk reward. we'll see. That's something I'm just going to watch. I'm not like setting limit orders or anything. And if this proceeds down for a new low temporarily here, then that kind of resets the potential where we could get an ABC up from that low instead. So we may be in store for some more chop here. It might not resolve one way or the other quite yet. That being said, if we break below this level here, I'll probably assume that we're going into that next leg already. It's possible it goes, a little deeper and then spikes up still, but generally I would say if we go below 36.5 or so, we're probably going to see a fairly rapid continuation down to 31.8. But like I said, this is all just sort of what ifs at this point. And I deal in probabilities, not certainties. So in any case, let's see, what else do I have to say? Oh, let's look at the fib. So the way that I got this box here is from drawing a fib from the top right there down to the bottom. And I think I have to adjust this just slightly. Yeah. So there we go. I was assuming we were going to go a little lower there. So our box is pretty much 40.1 to 42.4, give or take. That is the ideal region. It's the 382 to the 618 retracement. That's the ideal region for a second wave to go into. Okay, so anywhere in there. So once again, we've got confluence with the 0.5 fib right at 41. So I've got my 382 at 40.7, my 0.5 at 41. That's a whole lot of confluence saying, that's probably, if it is going to go up, that's probably where it's going to stop. Has a little room to continue going. And to be honest, second waves, as we saw here, this is a big second wave. That went darn near the old high, and it really shouldn't have gone that high, but they can be tricky like that. So could this press up really, really high and get back up into the 44s? Yeah, it's possible, and that doesn't really prove anything if it does that. The only proof that we still have that a alternate scenario, an alternate bullish scenario is playing out would be if we break above that high of 45.8. So if this can crash through here and get above 45.8, in that case, I'm going to be looking for longs instead probably. And the likelihood at that point is that we're doing a big old diagonal, which I hate. But this could be 1 and 2, or I guess even A and B of a first wave. I mean, that could be a big like ABC up in a first wave. So diagonals are super hard to determine where exactly we are in them, and I hate them, and they're not reliable to trade anyway. So realistically, the best case scenario that we have is a continuation downwards from one point or another. But obviously, I always want to point out that there are other possibilities. It could crash through, but this is not a healthy setup. I want to make that clear. Even if this starts pumping, this is not a healthy setup at all to sustain a large pump, right? So by that I mean I do not expect that we'll see this, right? We're not going straight up rocket ship mode at this point in time. The setup is not there for Bitcoin to do that. The setup is there for the bears to take over and push us down to at least 25. That setup is there. And then from there, once that completes, we could get the setup. I'm hoping we get the setup. We could get a nice 5-wave impulse off of that low. That would be beautiful. That'd be fantastic. And that's exactly what we want to see, and why I will continue to track the micro, because as you can see in here, I tracked this micro down, I tracked this micro down, and it made me really confident that we were going to see some dumpage and potentially proceed downwards to break that low. So again, once we get into this area, assuming we do go there, I'll be tracking the micro, because we will hopefully see a nice micro 5-wave impulse up, which means we can then buy with high confidence the next pullback after that, and then actually see a really nice setup for a good bull run up to the final targets that I still have of at least 100 maybe up to 130, and maybe beyond, since Bitcoin likes to do blow off tops. It could go beyond that, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. It's safest, I'm gonna buy some down in this area, 28 to 25 area. I'll be buying some small buys, but I'm not going to get aggressive until we see the confirmation of a bottom, which is a 5-wave impulse like that. That'll be confirmation, and I will be aggressive on buying the pullback. So that's my plan. That's what I'm expecting. We'll continue to see what the rest of this week brings and go from there. Please keep in mind that it is very possible that we just see this dump out. Although my primary expectation right now, as long as we remain above 36.5, is that we will push up into this area at a minimum before proceeding downwards, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody, you have a good night, a good rest of your week, and remember, take a look at our website, tradelikeawhale.com, scan the QR code, hop in for a free 2-week trial. If you're interested in trading anything other than Bitcoin, I highly recommend that. I do chart requests and all that good stuff. So, all right, everybody, I will talk to you later.